Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about social reforms in Tamil Nadu. Social reforms is general term that is used to describe movements organized by members of a community who aim to create changes in the society. Reform aims to be gradual and to make tangible changes for members of the community. So, the freedom fighters, poet, social reformers from Tamil Nadu, through his poems, advocated women empowerment, caste reforms, social equity, and equality. In 1908, French gave him political asylum in Puducherry. There are many social reformers of Tamil Nadu. Today we have to learn about Ayodhidasar, Ramalinga Adigal, and Thiruvalluvar are the main social reformers of Tamil Nadu. Now, we are going to learn about these three reformers. Parsi reform movement. In the middle of the 19th century, the reform activities began in Mumbai. Farjuni Navaroji founded Parsi Reform Society in 1851. Rost Goftar, the truth teller, was the main voice of the movement. Bahromi Malbar organized campaign for legislation against the practice of child marriage. The community produced many leaders such as Feroza Mehta and Dinsha Vacha, who played a big role in the early Congress. Key movements of the time fought for women's suffrage, limits on child labor, abolition, temperance and prison reforms. Explore key reform movement of the 1800 with the curated collections of the classroom resources. According to the tradition, the Parsis initially settled at Hormuz on the Persian Gulf, but finding themselves still persecuted, they set sail for India, arriving in 18th century. The migration may in fact have taken place as late of 10th century. Sikh reform movement. Among Sikh of Punjab too, there were attempts to reform. Baba Dayal Das founded Nirankari movement, stressed the worship of God as formless. He reiterated the prohibition on meat eating and liquor consumption. The Namdari movement founded by Baba Ram Singh was another socio-religious movement among the Sikhs. The Namdaris insisted on wearing the symbols of Sikhism except the kirpan. Kirpan means sword. Instead, Baba Ram Singh wanted his followers to carry a lathi. It considered both men and women equal and accepted widow remarriage. It prohibited the dowry system and child marriage. In the wake of the gathering influence of Arya Samaj, the Christian missionaries, the Sikh Sabha of Amritsar was established. Its main objective was to restore purity of Sikhism. With the support of British, it established Khalsa College for Sikhs in Amritsar. Sikh Sabha was forerunner of Akali movement. Now we are going to learn about social reformers of Tamil Nadu. First one is Ramalinga Swamigal. Ramalinga Swamigal, popularly known as Vallalar. Ramalinga Swamigal or Ramalinga Adigal in 1823 to 74 was born in Marudur, a village near Chidambaram. After his father's death, his family moved to his brother's house at Chennai. Despite having no formal education, he gained immense scholarship. Ramalinga emphasized the bonds of responsibility and compassion between living beings. He showed his compassion and mercy on living beings, including plants. This is called Jiva Karunya. He established Samarasa Veda Sanmarka Sangam in 1865 and it was renamed Samarasa Suddha Sanmarka Satya Sangha which means Society for Pure Truth in Universal Selfhood. Ramalinga also established free feeding house for everyone irrespective of caste at Vadalur in 1867 in the wake of terrible famine in South India in 1866. His voluminous song was compiled and published under the title of Thiruvaruppa, Song of Grace. Mahatma Ayyan. Mahatma Ayyan was born on 28th August 1863 at Venganur, Thiruvananthapuram, Travancore. He was the first of 8 children born to Ayyan and Mala, who were members of Pulayar community of untouchable people. Although the family were relatively well off compared to other Pulayars, having been given 5 acres of land by grateful landlord, the children were encouraged to adopt customary occupations of agriculture. Members of Pulayar community generally were rural slaves at that time. He was a social reformer who worked for the advancement of deprived untouchable people in the princely state of Travancore, British India. His efforts influenced many changes that improved social well-being of those people who are today often referred as Dalits. He pioneered movement of democratizing public places and asserting the rights of workers even before the formation of any workers' organization in Kerala. The most amazing part of it is that he did all this in spite of his illiteracy. Next reformer is Ayodhidasar. Pandit Ayodhidasar 1845 to 1914 was a radical time scholar, writer, Siddha medicine practitioner, journalist and socio-political activist. Born in Chennai, he was fluent in Tamil, English, Sanskrit and Pali languages. He campaigned for social justice and worked for emancipation of untouchables for the caste clutches. He worked for the construction of casteless identity and castigated caste hegemony and untouchability. He considered education as an important tool for empowerment and became the driving force behind the establishment of several schools for the untouchables in schools. Advaidananda Sabha. Pandita Ayodhidasar founded Advaidananda Sabha to raise his voice for the temple entry of the untouchables. In 1882, John Rathinam and Ayodhidasar established a movement called Dravida Kalagam and launched a magazine called Dravida Pandian in 1885. He founded the Dravida Mahajana Sabha in 1891 and organized the first conference of the association at Nilgiris. Pandita Ayodhidasar was disappointed with the Hindu Dharma, who served as the basis of propagation and validating caste in the Hindu society. Influenced by Theosophist organizer Colonel H.S. Olcott, he went to Sri Lanka in 1898 and converted to Buddhism. In the same year, he founded Sakya Buddhist Society at Madras and constructed rational religious philosophy through Buddhist religion. He started weekly journal Oru Paisa Tamilan in 1907 and published it until his demise in 1914.